number one. Good morning. I want to thank everybody for joining in to Teacher Tech Live. If you notice, we're doing this through YouTube Live today.
It's just now coming up on the computer,
Okay, thank you.
just FYI.
My name is Jason Adams. I'm the Director of IT. My co-moderator today is Mrs. Michelle Brown, and she is our Administrator of Instructional Technology. And today we are going over converting to digital material. So our primary focus today will be on Google Drive and some of the other extensions and applications that we can use to help facilitate that transition into digital formats.
Ask them if they can see.
So we have our live chat going on right now, and just before I get started, if we could confirm that everyone can see and hear me, if someone could please type in a response to that in the live chat. Are we good?
Yes. I can't, but you're good. I can't see you, but you're good.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. So thank you for bearing with us. This is our first Teacher Tech Live session, and we just want to make sure that, well, basically I'm not standing up here talking for no reason. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, we do have Ms. Brown here with us to moderate your questions, and she will read those to me as you guys have them. So just some housekeeping, just to make sure that you get in-service hours for your time. Ms. Brown is going to post a link to a form so that you can input some basic information. I think there's 2 questions, and then we will add that into the tracking system so that you can get your in-service hours for this morning and for all of the other trainings that we will be hosting. And also we have, if you did not participate in the GoGuardian session yesterday, we're going to introduce the tech classroom that we have created, which will house the consolidated district-supported programs that are not only purchased, but ones that we also support in-house and recommend for usage. And so if you would please go ahead and join. So that's at classroom.google.com. If you notice the class code here, see if we can make it bigger. So if you want to go ahead and go to classroom.google.com, or you can open that up in your waffle and then click join, and you can enter this code that you see here on the screen. Okay, perfect. And remember, this video will be recorded and available inside of this classroom whenever we're finished. Okay. So we're going to jump over to Google Drive, and we're going to get started. All right, so if you're new to the district, new to Google, then Google Drive is kind of like your digital filing cabinet. And specifically, if we're in a situation, which everyone already knows, that the school board made the decision yesterday during the emergency school board meeting that the first week that students begin will be digital. So if this is a new environment for you, then Google Drive will help assist that in many ways. Specifically, if you're more familiar with Microsoft Word products, etc., all of our students do utilize Chromebooks and exist in a Chrome environment. And therefore, the Google Drive will help facilitate a digital environment and digital instruction to a higher level. And it'll be easier for you, less frustrating for your students. So to access your Drive, you can click on this little grid icon, which is called the waffle, and inside of that you'll see Drive. You can also click on your URL and type in drive.google.com. You'll notice that there is some consistency with how Google creates its URLs. You'll have drive.google.com, classroom.google.com, forums.google.com, etc. So inside of this, if you've never used it before, you have the new button with the plus sign. Here's where you can begin to organize your material. So if you're on an existing device, such as the PC in your classroom, then you can click on folder and begin to organize your material. So this can be, for example, maybe I want to start to house all my lesson plans in my Drive. So I'm going to create a folder called lesson plans, and then I'm going to begin to upload those lesson plans inside this folder. So to access the folder, you just double click. Inside here you can drag and drop from your PC, or you can click new again, and you can go to file upload, or you can upload entire folders of documentation. You can also create Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, and additional Google applications, have access to additional Google applications directly from Drive. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples of Microsoft products. So let's say I want to put a Microsoft Word doc. Notice that if I receive an email, I'll automatically have some options. I can download this file. I can automatically add it to my Drive. So I'm going to show you both methods. First, I'm going to download, and then I'm going to add it to my Drive. All right, so let's jump back over to Drive. And I'm going to refresh. Now notice I'm still in my lesson plan folder, so it's not going to automatically organize information for me. So now I have this Microsoft Word document available in my quick access folder, and then also down below. All right, so a quick and easy way to access and edit Microsoft Word documents is you can right click on the document before you even open it. If you right click, you can go up, you can select Open With, and choose Google Docs. And this will automatically convert that Word document into a Google Doc. Now you have the same sharing permissions, editing permissions that you would normally have if you were to create a Google Doc from the initial phases. But let's say I have this document downloaded and it's not part of an email. Well, I just go to New, File, Upload. I can take a look in my downloads. Apparently I added both of those to my Drive, so apologies. So let's take another look what I have here. On your Chromebooks, you notice that it always keeps track of everything you do down in the bottom right with your notifications. So if I wanted to, I can come back and then go to File. You can save it as Google Docs here as well. And then you also have the option to download. So let's see this in the folder. And you can also choose your files here. And if you have files in other locations, then you can click and drag these over to your Google Drive. Let's take a look at PowerPoint. I'm going to add this to my drive. See it populate here. This time I'm going to open it first. So now you notice that I'm opening it up and it's only in a view only mode. The presentation's not that great. But if I choose open with, I can select Google Slides and it will automatically convert that PowerPoint into a Google Slides. Once this is converted, then I can put it into my Google Classroom, share it out with my students, etc. Also, whenever you do convert these materials, you don't lose your original. You always have access to them. Okay, lastly, we have one of the most common file types is a PDF document. So if I open this PDF, you'll notice that you get that kind of transparent overlay of the view-only file. But up top here, you have the open with. Kami is a Chrome extension that has been force installed on all devices and all student devices. It is a PDF annotator. So if I open this PDF inside of Kami, and if this is the first time that you've utilized Kami, you will have to sign up. And this is the first time that I've used Kami with this account, so I'll take you through the process. Say authorize. Select the account that you want to use. Choose the institution type. Pick your role. We do use a learning management system, and our learning management system is Google Classroom. Here you can select your school by putting in your zip or school name. You'll notice that if you use your zip code, you'll get a list. I'm just going to choose one. Now you will initially get a 30-day free trial, but once this 30-day free trial expires, there are free components of Kami that will always be free, such as the PDF annotation tools. So we're going to continue with the 30-day trial. And it looks like they're going to give us some Google Classroom teacher instructions. And that's because I selected that we utilize as our LMS Google Classroom. Okay. So let's take a look, now that I've activated this, if I can come back in here and try to open it up in the original PDF that I wanted to annotate on. All right, perfect, so here it is. So the great thing about Kami is that when you utilize the annotation tools, everything that you put on this PDF will actually stick to the document. So this is a great tool for your Promethean board, for demonstrations, because you can download and save this into your drive, share it out to your classroom as notes. If you're doing a math PDF or workbook PDF or something like that, you can also share it out to your students, have them complete and annotate PDF documents, worksheets, etc., and then turn those in through Classroom as well. Now the premium features do allow students to have the little turn-in button in Classroom and allow you to turn it in directly. But even without those premium features, once those premium features expire, you can click Save As, right? So we're going to save now. Now these changes are saved, and this can be from the student perspective as well. And then they can turn in this annotated document to you through Classroom, even without that premium feature. So let's go back. Take a look at. I'm going to throw this in my drive just to show you that. So I'm going to export it to my Google Drive with annotations. I'm going to begin this export. So let's take a look and see what happens whenever we do that. So if you notice, it's already organized this file for me under my drive, under my Classroom folder, which was automatically created for me whenever I joined Google Classroom, and then it put it into Henry Tech for Teachers.
We have a couple questions.
Okay, let's hear the questions.
If a PDF is saved, do the students return to the, I guess you mean it's Google Classroom classwork to turn it in, or do they hit share after save?
I would turn it in through Classroom. I would keep everything kind of systematic so that it's simple instructions. So if you share the PDF out in Classroom, which we will do Classroom training, and we will go into how to share this type of PDF and turn in this type of PDF more during that training. But I would keep everything in Classroom so that way the instructions don't vary based on the document type.
And the other question is, or maybe you have some tips on, you know, how sometimes when you upload a Word document into a Google Doc, especially if it has like charts or some of those other things, it doesn't come over very pretty or nice. So.
Yes, so if you have a complicated, like a document that is formatted, or heavily formatted, or specifically or customly formatted, however you want to describe it, if you try to convert a document into a Google Doc and it messes up the formatting, so that way whenever you do actually open it up, it's a mess. And it would take you in all honesty, it seems like it would take you longer to correct the formatting errors than it would to just create the document from scratch. Well, this PDF annotator is a great way to utilize the document that you want to utilize in Classroom and still have your students be able to write on it, and then still have your students be able to turn that document in. So
For Word documents, they can also save it as PDF.
That's correct. So for Word documents, you can save as PDF. So if you look, if I want to let's say if I want to open with, say if I just want to open this. Let's try this. Okay, so as you can see, I opened up a Microsoft Word document. We do have some charts here, we have some images. It's opened up in a docx format, which means it's maintained some of its originality from Microsoft originally. All right, its original format, apologies. So whenever you do go to File, you can go to Download and choose PDF document. So now this download as a PDF. All right, so I'm going to save it. All right, so now I have the option to go into Kami. See if we can upload from here.
Just go to the PDF and open it in Kami.
Sometimes the view is a little different.
Oh, okay.
So like if I download specific files, sometimes you won't get that overlay. Like you can add it to your drive and go through that, but I'm trying to show everybody that there are a couple different ways to access files. So if you go to your file folder here in Kami, then you can choose files directly from your saved points to upload into Kami. See, so now I have that Microsoft Word document that had the complicated formatting that maybe I would have lost when I converted, but now it's here in editable format, and that I can use annotation tools in the PDF editor that I can also share out to my students in classroom, and that they can fill in, write on, save, and turn back into me through Classroom. Do you have any more questions? Okay. So we have touched on uploading files and folders, downloading a file. So you can save any type of file inside of Google Drive. Right? All of the Google apps are obviously going to save in Drive. All Microsoft products will save in Drive. And videos, you can upload videos into Drive as well. So let's take a look how that will look. So Loom is a great screen capture tool. So I'm going to go ahead and go to loom.com. I'm going to sign up with Google. It's the easiest way to do pretty much everything if it's an option. Go ahead and agree. Have some basic questions, just like with any product. I'm going to install the extension because we are, especially if you're using your teacher Chromebook. It's going to take me to the Chrome Web Store. So I'm going to go ahead and add this extension to Chrome. You see it pop up over here in my extension bar. Tells me to click the puzzle piece to access. All right, so I'm going to use this a lot, so I'm going to pin this extension. So that way I have easy access to it always. Okay. So I'm going to hit Loom. I'm going to give access to my mic and camera. I'm going to allow. set up the permissions, I'm ready to use. Now, we are going to go into Loom and Google Meet and some other screen capture, lesson capture, but what I'm trying to do is just give you a general idea of how video works in Drive, right? So, I'm going to go ahead and start recording. I'm going to choose my entire screen. I'm going to share this. Give me a little countdown. Okay, so this is a sample video to demonstrate how videos can load in Drive. Okay, so this video is here in Loom. I can copy a link, directly share it, and also download it. So let's say I download it. I've downloaded it, I got an MP4 file. Let's go back to my Drive. Go to New, File Upload. Let's see if it's... Maybe I already saved it. Yeah, it's already there. So one of the things you can do is you can set your download location to your Drive so that anything you do download does automatically save to your Drive. All right, so this is typically a default setting. So if you come to your file folder and you select downloads and you do not see anything populating, then there's a good chance that it's already in your Drive. So as you can see here, I have this little video icon for viewing. It's already there in my Drive. So one of the things to remember about videos in Drive is that it does take time for processing and uploading. So let's go to the Drive homepage. You can see here that I just uploaded this video now, and more than likely it is not ready. Okay, so couldn't preview, problem playing this video. It does not mean that this did not work. What it means is that it is not finished processing. So you will see an image actually display of some of the video content whenever this video is ready. And the great thing about having videos stored in your Drive is that you can share this video just like you can a Google Doc or any other resource by adding people to it or by copying the link and sharing it out in Classroom, etc. And then you don't have to actually upload videos into your Drive, or apologies, into your Classroom, and take that time for uploads. Also, having video and audio stored in your Drive allows you to insert video and audio into your Google Slide presentations, which will also help for the distance learning.
Question about videos.
Sure.
I've been using Screencastify, and there's a time limit to record. Does Loom have a time limit?
I have been using Loom for quite a few years, and the entire reason why I utilized Loom, we had a question about time limits, is because they didn't have a time limit. So I've recorded 45-minute videos, hour-and-a-half videos with Loom without any problems at all. Typically, I don't recommend recording videos that long. It's the whole reason why I don't use Screencastify, is because 5 minutes is not long enough. But if you can keep those recorded videos between 15 and 20 minutes, I mean, as we're all teachers, we know that attention span is it falls within that 15-minute range to begin with. So, but use Loom, or Loom does not have that 5-minute time restriction. And it's very easy to use. You get the little picture of yourself if you want to keep yourself up there. You can change the size of that bubble, etc. And you can completely remove yourself from it as well. Do you have any other questions, Ms. Brown?
Not right now.
Okay. All right. All right, so you can also save content directly from the web into your drive. So let's say you're doing some research, and if you're like me, currently you have 100 tabs open, and you know that you're searching for a lesson plan, you're trying to find interesting resources, you don't want to bookmark everything, but you really want to save something. So let's just try to do some, let's try to find we'll do 5th grade ELA Standards, Florida. All right. Okay, so let's say I want to capture this. I want to save it in my drive. Well, there's a nice extension for that. So let's take a visit to the Chrome Web Store, and you can just Google Chrome Web Store. It's the first thing that pops up. In here, you can search for the extension Saves Drive. Save to Google Drive. We're going to add this extension to Chrome. Notice it comes up here next to your URL bar. Remember, you got to hit the puzzle piece. Anything you want to keep up top, just pin it to your shelf. Okay, so now I'm here. I'm going to add this to my drive. Give access to the account I want to pin it to. I'm going to allow. Of course, let's try to find a web-based application to do this on. Perfect. IXL. So let's try that again. All right, so you saw it go down all the way through the web page. Now I have the IXL Florida 5th grade ELA standards. It saved it as a PNG. I can rename it if I want to. It's there. I'm going to close it out. So now, as I go through and navigate through the web, I'm going to be able to save things directly to my drive. Occasionally, you do have to refresh for things to populate. And there we have it. So again, you can open this up and annotate with Cami, go through this more. You can change the zoom features. And you have access to the whole web page that way.
There's a question about extensions.
Okay.
If I add numerous extensions, will it reduce my drive storage capacity?
That's one of the great things about, so if you didn't hear the question, we had a question about extensions reducing drive space and storage capacity. So as a member of G Suite for EDU, we have unlimited storage in our drive. So if you're a personal Gmail user, you're familiar with the 15 gigabyte storage limitations. As a G Suite for EDU account, you do not have space limitations. So that means that you can store an unlimited amount of data inside of your drive.
Don't go out and make hour videos.
Yeah. No. So load them up. Okay, so let's go through some other organization that makes life a little bit easier inside a drive. So you'll notice over here that you have a priority tab up front. Priority tabs are great. I use them a lot. So especially whenever I want to create specific workspaces. So we do have another question.
It's about the storage, so before.
So we have another storage question.
Couple people saying that they are always getting that their storage is full.
Okay. That, if you have an existing teacher Chromebook and you try to download something and you're getting the error that says your hard disk space is full, well, that's not your Google Drive space that is full. It is your actual physical device hard disk space that is full. And you need to clear your cache and clear out your downloads, like your physical downloads on your device, and delete all of that so that you have the space to continue to function. You can go into settings and change your download location to Drive. And if you've done all of those things, one of our current things on the list of ITs to do is to manage this Google Play Store installation a little better, so that way whenever you do log into your teacher Chromebooks, which have that limited hard disk space, that Google Play Store will not be automatically downloaded and on your device to take up that extra space. And that is in the process, and we hope to have that accomplished before the 24th. In the meantime, though, clear your cache, delete your downloads, move them to your drive.
Do you want to show them how to do that?
And that's a really easy way to do that. So if you go in your browser, you click your three dots, right? You go to More Tools, clear your browsing data. Right, so you can cache images and files, cookies, browsing history. If you want to, the most effective one is from all time, right? Just go ahead and clear it all. And then you just clear your data. Now this doesn't remove your saved passwords or anything like that, so you don't have anything to worry about. It's just, cache is designed so that it increases your navigation speed. So that way, whenever you revisit a site, you don't have to reload all of those images, etc. again. But if it's blocking you from downloading and utilizing your device because of hard disk space limitations, then you just need to go ahead and clear them all out.
Do you want to show them how to do their hard drive?
Well, that's part of it. So if you notice, down here I have a recent extension on the right, but you can also pin any application you want to your shelf. And I always pin my file folder because I like to keep track of my downloads, etc. So this button here is your app launcher. And if you have a touch screen one, you can actually just swipe from the bottom of the screen all the way up and it'll load your apps. So here you notice I have some of the basic pre-installed applications. So I'm going to right click, which on a Chromebook is just a two-finger tap. So right click with two-finger tap, I have the option to pin to shelf. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that to my shelf. So now that my file folder will always be there and accessible. So I'm going to close the app launcher. Now I'm going to open up my files. Now you'll notice anything that's not here in my drive means that it's on this physical device. So here on my downloads, I'm going to take this. Now if I want to keep this, or if I don't have a copy already of it in my drive, then I'm going to click and drag it over, save it into my drive, right? Copy to my drive, dismiss. So now I know I have a copy of that in my drive that I can access from any device at any location. So now I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. So now I've freed up that space in my hard drive. And you can do that with all of your downloads and all of your other files that are stored locally on your device. Okay.
We were talking about Google Drive.
Let's go back to Google Drive, and we're in the Priority tab. All right, so Priority tab gives you a list of things that you frequently access. So if you utilize Drive a lot and you don't take a lot of time to create folders and organize files real nice, if you're the type of person that's kind of organized chaos, more or less, and I fall victim to this because I'm like, I saved my drive, and then you get to my drive, and it's just a huge list of individual documents. And the idea of going in there and organizing everything into its own unique little folder, well, it's a little daunting. So what I do is I switch over to this priority file, and inside of this, I can create workspaces. So I create workspaces that include documents that are contingent upon and relevant to whatever that workspace is. So let's create a workspace. So let's say if I want to create a workspace, and I'm going to do Unit 1, Distance Learning. I'm going to create. All right, so now inside of this, Unit 1 Distance Learning, I can begin to add the files out of my drive that I want to have priority access to. So I add files, it gives me some recent files that I have, so I'm going to go ahead and add the standards document that I had in there, and I'm going to add one more just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to do my video introduction for my classroom. Okay, so here I have my priority workspace for this specific unit. Okay, so now I can click on the More option, which is the 3 dots to the right, and then I can share this with specific teachers in my group that I want them to have access to. And then they can edit and etc. that you would want them to be able to do to whatever specific documents you have. And then the next time I go to my drive, and if I'm inundated with information, well, I don't have to search for anything. I can always just go to my priority space, access my workspaces, find that I have my Unit 1 Distance Learning, and I have all my files here ready to access. So that's one good thing about priority. It is handy and convenient. So inside, there are many ways to organize. So inside your My Drive, you do have your folders. So let's take a look at folders. Here I did lesson plans. If you right click, remember it's 2-finger tap on the Chromebook, you can share a folder. So if you share a folder with someone, that means they have access to everything inside the folder. So if you create a lesson plan folder and you want to share it to everyone in your cohort or in your grade level content area, then they would have the permissions that you set for that folder for any file that you put into that folder, right? And you can change those sharing options here. So share people in groups. Okay. I go to settings. You have those permissions, and you can also change permission sharing here, right? So you can change it to view, editor, commenter, etc., or you can share by link. Let's take a look at shared drives. So inside of shared drives, if someone shares information with you, it's not going to automatically show up in your My Drive. It will show up in shared drives. Shared drives is a place for teamwork. It's also known as team drives. If you create a team drive, the great thing about team drives is that all the information that you put in there, even if that person leaves a group, then it does not take that information with them. Whereas if it's a folder, and if I put information into that folder and I leave the group, then I'm going to take that info with me. So that's something to stay cognizant about. Okay, so it looks like we are all out of time.
Remind them to sign in on the form.
So please remember to sign in for that credit, that in-service credit on your form. If you have additional questions, you can type those in and we'll try to answer those. And remember, this video will be uploaded into the classroom.
Jamboard and stuff this afternoon.
And we do have additional trainings this afternoon with Google Jamboard, the interactive whiteboard by Google, and what was the other one?
Nearpod.
Nearpod.
Focus,
And Focus, new teacher training.
I believe.
So thank you very much.
So it wouldn't play on here.